trying to be.
Yeah, just to add to this, I mean, amazing points from both of you guys. And for me, it's very interesting, Nick, that you said you came from the business world, right? So you kind of knew the tactics and you were trained, I guess, in some kind of manipulation training. And I cannot imagine how many places these things were actually are a thing actually, right? So they are applied there. And for me, so I never attended these, but I have the intuition that I can sense this. It's exactly like what you just said right now. It's usually people are not stupid and they can sense that they are lied to, and especially if it's a very mechanical thing. So especially here on this very platform, Twitter or X or whatever it's called these days, you see all those tactics and it's very cookie cutter, and they paste some templates into their chat GPT thing, and they get the soulless manipulative prompt templates out of this, and with the sole intention to be maximally clickbaity, right? And for me, it's a major turnoff because you can sense it is really not genuine and doesn't come really from personal experience, even, right? So you can really tell they try to exploit human psychology to the max, and you see this even with very big content creators. Let's say Mr. Beast, right? Nothing against him; he's a super smart guy, I guess, but personally, he seems to optimize for the maximum engagement, and he kind of tries to optimize all kinds of metrics to get the most clicks, essentially, which apparently works, right? Personally, it doesn't really speak to me, and it feels like something that comes out of the machine, actually, just from some kind of optimization algorithm. And let's say now we try to optimize to exploit human psychology, and this is what all of social media companies are doing, more or less, right? And all the algorithms are tuned to get engagement. All the mainstream media, they're kind of tuned to get this maximum engagement money, essentially, ultimately, right? So you want to sell stuff, and then it's the other way around. Let's say you are now a business and you have a legitimate business, then you want eyeballs, of course, right? So this is like the other perspective here. So obviously you don't want to be manipulated in buying, let's say, junk, some poison. So imagine you're in a tobacco company and you want to sell your cigarettes. Might not be like the most mindful business, or let's say let's say you're a meth dealer, right? And Heisenberg style, and you want to distribute the uh, the product to people, and there is a market demand for this kind of stuff, right? And then there is a question, okay, first of all, how do you get eyeballs on this? And then the second question is, okay, is the product that you're selling, is this actually good or not, or does it actually poison people and just optimize it for your short-term profit, right? So there are different tangents we can go there, but it's a really interesting thing. We were in the past thinking of well, what is the level of consciousness that you're operating on, both in terms of the product that you're selling and the marketing, right? So you can maybe have a super conscious business and try to enlighten people all the time and heal people, but use super exploitative marketing strategies, right? And just like grifter style kind of marketing campaigns. It's possible, I guess. Or you could really, I guess, when you're really conscious and you act from the heart, then you might also want to use marketing strategies that also are more authentic, right? And then really speak to people in an authentic way. And I totally love what you said. So if I'm saying, let's say I admit my product isn't the greatest yet, maybe it's shit. And I tell you this, but I'm working on this, right? So I don't want to sell you shit, but I acknowledge that it's not perfect yet. And I think when you say this, you get so much trust that way. But yeah, those are great comments. So happy to hear what you think about this.
Nick,
Yeah,
feel free. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I absolutely am really resonating with everything you both are saying. I mean, yeah, there's so much popping just in my mind as you're speaking, and yeah, what essentially for me, I feel it comes down to is, you know, we have human psychology, right? And we've come to an incredible understanding of human psychology, and you know, in many ways, we're incredibly lucky to, I mean, understand this much already about the human psyche, even though I think there's a lot that we still don't understand. about consciousness and whatnot. But either way, we have this knowledge, but then how do we use that knowledge? And exactly, you mentioned the social media, and I personally don't want to use the understanding of human psychology in order to abuse it and to exploit it. I'm more interested in how can we enhance it? How can we grow together? How can we lead each other towards self actualization? And I think, exactly as you say, also, it's these platforms creating all these dopamine circuits. And if you look at media, also sort of fear mongering and sort of sending messages or narratives that seem to grab attention, and these headlines that are just designed to be linguistically written in a way that captures someone's imagination, but in the way that sort of scares them, and sort of speaks to their parts of cell that are scared, rather than, and so it's this constant like feedback into like more of an egoic state, because okay, wow, the world is dangerous, I need to protect myself more, I need to make more money, whatever it is. And if you look at the whole kind of consumer industry, it's basically built on the premise of lack. It's basically built on the premise that you are not enough, therefore you must buy my product. There's a good documentary, I can't remember what it's called, but it's about the quote unquote father of PR, which was the nephew of Freud, who moved to America. And then he basically was kind of the one of the original, I could say, founders of massive advertising, or mass marketing, or this kind of commercial PR. And it was all exploitation. It's all this like, it's basically feeding this idea that people don't have everything they need, or like there's something wrong with them, therefore they need to buy the products. And you see that with luxury products. It's ridiculous how you can pay 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 or sometimes even more for a bag that probably costs like $50 to make, right? And it's all, they're paying for the brand, they're paying. That difference is perception, and that difference is perception and a hope or an idea of what having or owning that product might signal to others. And like, oh yeah, I'm so stylish, or I'm so rich, I'm so abundant, or whatever it is. And therefore people can love me, people can validate me, people can respect me. And the industry is taking advantage of that. So I think, to come back to consciousness and awareness, I think the more aware we become in ourselves, the more we understand and can notice these gimmicks, right, or these tricks that are being used. And so we naturally become immune to them. And I think then there's a responsibility when we're on the other side, when we're building a business, when we're promoting, when we're selling something, that we also do that in a conscious way, right? Because I think some people get to this point, right? Because that's how they're using the tactics also, because they realize that they work, and they're probably immune to themselves, because they have enough self-awareness. But they kind of stop there. They're like, okay, now I have more of an informational advantage, and I'm going to take advantage of my audience, or whatever it is. So I think there's a responsibility that we need to take. And I hear that sometimes from people, like, well, will I be able to make as much money if I'm not using all these tactics, or these smart moves, as you say, like tag, follow, or DM, and or kind of induce FOMO, or and I mean, I truly believe that no, like, I think, if you're in it for the long term, of course, if you just want to, create something for a year or two, make some money, and then disappear, that might work. But actually, in the long term, if you build trust, if you build a healthy relationship, if it's a two-way street where you're not just, seemingly adding value to your audience, but behind the scenes, sort of sucking money out of them through all these tricks. If you're actually adding value, if you're also hearing them out, if you're solving their problems, and then using all these ways of communicating about what you're doing, but in the way that's honest and truthful, then your, success is inevitable.